Not nice. Okay, I'll give it a minute or two to get everybody back up again. ZS6OP is standing by. Yeah, Melissa. Just check if your microphone has come back on yet. Yep, there it is. Okay, Melissa.
Yeah, I'm back, thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, let's get these other guys up. Stephen.
Okay, I'm there.
I mean, Stefan. Lawrence. Okay, you got all right, so the only person that's now missing is Mr. Stephen SJR. I don't feel bad about this. Not last week, on Wednesday, the World Health was having problems. Yesterday, they were having problems. And for those of you that are there at the moment, just after my screen hit the blue screen, Andrew also did a reboot on his PC, just rebooted. So I don't know what's going on. It's technology. Guys, we need to come up on radio and do this that way. Okay. Now, basically what I was saying is that we're getting a very low turnout to people all round. And I think it's twofold. You know, as I said to somebody else during the course of the day, that during the preparation and training period, people are saying, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time. And then we get caught with our pants down ultimately at the end of the day. And I think that when you guys speak with the other volunteers, we need to start encouraging them to actually get their ducks in a row. You know, fair enough, I'm using Zoom. It's a technical issue that bombed out tonight. I was going to go with a technology bloop. I had something like that in my mind. So I think while you guys are talking to the other volunteers in private and WhatsApp and whatever else, we've really got to start encouraging them to come up. We are now sitting in a situation where we are literally in a disaster situation. As
ZX OPS, this is ZX6 ETS. Just a quick communication.
ZS6 EGS, sorry, I'm just on a Zoom meeting at the moment. A little bit rainy, but you did come through. ZS6 OPS out. Okay, so basically, we need to encourage the guys to come up and get their equipment going, get their Zoom going, get their operations files together, make sure that we got extra cell phones or tablets or whatever. If we've got old ones in the cupboard, we need to pull them out and get ready for where we are at the moment. We are literally in a disaster situation. And on Wednesday night, I asked the question, what is it that you guys are going to do as far as your planning is concerned? I did state that depending on what happens with disaster management, we probably won't be activated on this one as yet. However, I see there are a couple of things that are already starting to play out within the South African society. And yeah, everybody's sending me this final statement of the executive mayor, so I think I'll download it quickly so that we can just quickly browse through it and look and see whatever everybody's hyped up about on this one. We might not get activated on this one, although there are a couple of things that are taking place around us. For example, with the Pick n Pay opening up an hour early for pensioners on a Wednesday, there are volunteers that are going in that are prepared to go and swab down and wipe down and sort of neutralize the corona virus that could be carried on these trolleys. And as we heard in the briefing now by the director, the WHO Director General, the call on the whole of the world at the moment is to isolate. We've got to isolate and we've got to protect the vulnerable. So anybody over the age of 55 ultimately has moved automatically into the vulnerable category. And then those that have got underlying conditions, TB, HIV, emphysema, angina, asthma, cancer, those in particular have moved them into a much higher category. So I wanted to know from you guys for tonight, what are your plans? Stephen, I think I'm going to start with you. Look, I don't expect you to give away personal information, but I want to see just how far the volunteers are looking at preparing for where we are. Now, to give you an example of why I am looking at this stage, in a month's time, it could be a totally different ballgame. And we need to be able to adapt individually, but also as a team. In a month's time, we might have to do other things, and we might have to do it as a team. And when I sit back and I look at other organizations where they have been prepping, the Cycloners, for example, I know that all of their planning has been on an evacuation. And for the last 3 years, I've been saying, but guys, what happens if it's not going to be an evacuation? And guess what? We are at that point. This is not an evacuation. So I want to get the general feel of where you guys are sitting as far as your planning goes. That includes with your family, specifically with your family, but your colleagues and your friends. So let's start with you, Stephen, SJR. Go ahead.
Just one sec. Chad, I'm not quite sure what type of planning you really going on about what, but in general, food or staying at home. Because I mean, if this outbreak gets bad, the only thing I plan for is to stay at home and try not to go to work. There's not much more I can do in terms of that. So I don't really know what else to say.
I'm talking right across the board, actually, Stephen. But that's a good answer, and I'm going to accept it. You know, there's no right or wrong answer here. So, in essence, the only thing you saying is, if something happens, if it gets, you know, any worse than this, you're just going to stay at home. That's it.
Yeah, well, obviously I can. I mean, where I can assist, but you can't just get. Considering the contagiousness of this virus, if you go assist and you're not protected, you're just going to be a statistic in it. So you've got to be careful. We have to see, I guess, how it plays out. I mean, in terms of staying at home, that to me makes the most sense. And to communicate with where we can and see where we can help. But I mean, we don't have the equipment to aid anybody if you really think about it. We can pass messages around, but physically to actually help somebody, what are we going to do? So I don't know.
All right, Rory, let me go over to you there. You'll have to unmute yourself because I can't unmute you. I'll mute Stephen in the interim if I can find him now. Okay, Rory, go ahead.
Well, in the same situation as Stephen, really, we are just trying to make the best out of the situation in terms of how we are going to be able to isolate ourselves at home. At this stage, we are limiting our interaction with other people, but it's difficult for me and the business, being a service business, completely halt that. I have had the discussion with our staff. We have put measures in place at the office to try and mitigate risk as much as possible, but Fortunately, we're a very small business. But from our point of view, I'm just going to try and I'll isolate as much as possible at home with the family and not put them in situations where they're, out and about in public. It's not easy, but it's what we can do at the moment. And other than that, having that line of communication to not only the community, but as far as we can extend it for people that need information that's verified, to receive information that's verified, and build a bigger picture of what's happening around us. That's about as much as we can do at the moment.
All right, good stuff. Stefan, let's go to you.
Chet, yeah, good evening to the rest of the guys as well. Look, surrounding workplace environment, I see anything from, well, there's people that travel through my shop every day, anything from 150 to 200 people a day that we see face to face every day. So immediately trying to do everything as much as we can to protect my salesmen and everybody that goes around it. But personally, for me, my very first thing that I'll do if it worsens from where we are now is to get to my parents first. Because my sister and their family is far away. So my first thing will be to get to my parents and then help them or assist where you can. And like Stephen said, I don't think we've got as individuals have everything that we need to help the people around you. Yes, there's other people employed to do that at this stage. We can help in a different situation, but having the equipment is a different story at this stage.
All right, let's move on. Pierre?
Yeah, sorry, Chad. I'm here.
All right, I tried to bring you in sort of midway. I saw you were chowing there. So, yeah, that's it.
Okay, as far as I'm concerned, I might be, what, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I might be totally wrong, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is more of an economical crisis than actually a medical crisis, if I can call it that. Because again, I say I might be wrong, but it looks to me like the mortality rate isn't that high, but what can you call it? Sorry, I'm trying to get the fear factor is the main thing here. That's actually what's causing the whole hype. So that's why the people go out and buy the shops empty and all of that stuff. So in the end, and that's my view, we might run out of food before we run out of people to die. That's my feeling. I don't know if I'm wrong. Please give me your views. Chad, over to you.
All right, thanks, Pierre. Let me mute you there. Melissa, your comments, please.
Okay, can you hear me?
Go
Is
ahead.
everything cool? Okay. Yes, I've been doing a bit of prepping, but certainly not enough. And I think that it is concerning because we just seem to be running out of time when these unexpected things happen. You know, every payday to payday, you've got to wait for payday to do stuff. In my case, like, you know, to buy more supplies, do this, do that. So I think, you know, I've been trying for a couple of months now to every payday buy this or buy that, but I see I've already tucked into some of my supplies. You know, I certainly need to stock up more on water. I've got one jerry can full of 20 liters of petrol. You know, it's just, I've got some medical supplies. It's just not enough. And anyhow, you know, I think at the end of the day, I was hoping that I would be in touch with people that would kind of have a plan to, that if there was some sort of civil unrest, that I would have somewhere to maybe head out to. But it seems that we're going to more than likely tuck in. And I think my concern then with that is that we are then faced with this whole issue of those that have and those that don't. So we're going to have a security issue around our homes, because right now it's already the perception amongst my black colleagues here at work that it's only the white rich people that are shopping now and emptying out the shops, and they haven't even been paid yet and can't even get supplies. So it's obvious that the certain people have and certain people don't. And I think that's something else we're going to have to consider seriously. Over.
Okay, thanks, Melissa and Andrew.
So yeah, Chad. On my side there, we've been vigilant at our family and stuff, work as well. My office has declared that after next week, we will be working from home as much as possible once the project we're busy on at the moment is ended. We're also taking precautions sanitary-wise at the office and things. I have been trying to relay information from what we have gotten to everyone else, my colleagues, just so everyone's on the same boat there. And also at home, we've been making sure to be as precaution as possible. But like everyone's saying, the main problem here is most of the shops you try and go to stock up are already been emptied of the things that you need because other people are panic buying, which is the main concern, that people are more thinking of their own well-being over everyone else's, which the problem being is you might not have it, but the person you've just taken the sanitary stuff away from, especially the elderly, might have it or might contract it just because other people are buying too many. That's my main concern at the moment, is because of, like saying, economy is going to be an issue, supplies is going to be an issue. But we as a family and as an office are trying to take as much precautions as possible. And we are limiting as much out going to shops to get supplies as possible, mainly only one person going if need be. But yeah, the main concern is the supplies you can buy at the moment at any given time doesn't last. And that is also is the concern. And as I was saying as well, security. I've also been worried also as well. Unfortunately, the area I live in is prone to crime and this stuff as well. People are either going to panic that they don't have anything and then rob the nearest place that they think has stuff. Or hopefully in our own benefit, that people are just going to be too afraid to try and rob houses because of the virus. But it can go either way.
All right, Andrew, is that an over?
As us at CERT, probably the best thing we could only do with what we've got is relay information as best as possible, which is what I'm trying to do at the office as much as I can. Over to you, Chad.
Okay, now I finished. Some reason I had a delay. Lawrence, I'm bringing you in last because there was a statement made, and I think maybe you'd also like to respond to it. So, Lawrence, go ahead, over.
I missed the statement probably, but yeah, I think South Africa is not prepared for any virus of ill effect like other countries due to certain facts. Our medical system is certainly not prepared. Government, private, yes, but yeah, going to be unaffordable for some, but government is still prepared. Personal, medical stock due to my circumstances, I'm on the forefront, so the medical stock and disinfectants, I'm semi-prepared. The thing is, out there in the workplaces, everybody's running scared and haywire, but communication and education is a problem because there's different beliefs in South Africa. Some people say, like one statement said, only the whites can shop. Some people say, yes, it's only a white disease, we got some gomas. So different belief is, in South Africa is going to be a problem. on a later effect, yeah, security issue is going to be a problem. Food running out, warehouses is getting emptied, and impulsive buying is going to take place. Then later, your financial stuff. Yeah, so I don't see we coming out of this unscathed, but yeah, I think in 3-4 months' time, we're going to see the real impact of this thing hitting South Africa.
All right, yeah, that's quite an interesting round of response there, and I must tell you that, in essence, none of you are wrong, and I think Lawrence nailed it quite nicely that South Africa definitely is not prepared. However, I'd like to expand on that and state that the world was not prepared for this. Now that I've done the reboot, I've gone back to the Johns Hopkins webpage. You know, last night at this time, we were at 198,000 infected. And I've just done the refresh now. It's 211. And, you know, you look at South Africa, only 116 are confirmed. Now, Pierre, when you said, you know, it might not be a medical emergency at this stage, that is true. I don't think that, well, if you look at the figures throughout the world, where thousands of beds are being taken up, some of it unnecessarily, which is why worldwide they're actually trying to streamline the testing and not having to put everybody into a bed. I mean, South Africa definitely won't be able to cope with 1,000 beds overnight. But the potential risk is, especially with our HIV numbers, that in itself is going to be a problem. And, you know, NICD put out the press release today that they've only done just under 3,000 tests. And I was, during the reboot, listening to Boris Johnson's UK briefing that he's given. They've now decided to close the schools. They also want the workers to work from home. Canada has closed the border with the US, and a lot of other countries have just closed their borders down completely. But now Boris Johnson turned around and said, yeah, that they are currently testing 21,000 people a day. Now, I know that in this World Health Organization briefing this afternoon, the Peru journalist asked about the number of testing cases and what it should be. And the Director General basically said, look, you know, it depends on the country. How are they geared up to do it? Now, man, South Africa is way behind on this. The Joburg Mayor, I've sent the PDF out. You guys can have a look at it. Has laid out the City of Joburg's plan moving forward. Now, we're 3 days into a declared state of disaster. And the city is only releasing statements like this now. So there is going to be a delay in the timeout. One of the things that even I didn't pick up on here is no provision has been made for PPEs or personal protection equipment for the EMS guys. They've made it available at the 79 clinics. So yeah, Lawrence, don't look at me like that. Nothing about EMS at all. So that's a bit concerning as well. So you guys, as you're sitting at the moment, you know, you don't know which way to go. I must admit, I don't know which way to go because there's no specific plan moving forward. From a city's perspective, from a country's perspective, yes, they've got to roll out testing far and wide. They've definitely got to get out into rural areas, squatter camps, townships, because that's where the bulk of our 5 million people actually sit. Now, without the testing, we're not going to know the true numbers, not now. and people are going to start infecting others, and it's only going to come up in a week, and then they will only infect somebody else later within the next 2 weeks, and this is going to go on for months. So the economic impact, definitely, I agree with what was said on the forum this afternoon, or this evening, that we're going to feel the impact months down the line. Panic buying, not a good idea. Go to the shops, take double of what you need, let it be. Go back in 2 days or 3 days, do the same thing. I know Carl is doing the same thing here with us. I got a brilliant email today. I'm really chuffed about it. I placed an order online for toilet paper, and they promised to deliver it tomorrow. So I'm okay for toilet paper. I can shit myself when the cows come home.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I also put an order in at Macro, and I paid on my e-bucks. So I've got a couple of staples now, which will be rice and millipap and powdered soup. So I said to Carl, if it really gets that bad, China, luxury is gone. We're going down to bare minimum. And I said, I didn't tell him, but I only bought 1 bottle of oil. But I do remember you only need 75 grams of oil per day to sustain your current weight. And I can afford to lose a little bit. So if I'm down to 35 grams, I'm happy. I just didn't work out how many grams are in a 2-liter bottle. So, okay, look, I think having raised the question, you've stretched your minds a little bit on it. One word that did come up was communication. As CERT, we have a very specific and definitive responsibility to create public awareness. Where there is no public awareness, it becomes virtually impossible to mitigate any disaster. Okay, we are in a state of disaster, but our actual situation right now is a crisis. We don't have people falling over. We don't have hospitals overflowing. It's a crisis. But the declaration of a disaster is based on the potential. And we've got to mitigate the potential of a full-blown disaster. So are we in a disaster? Yes, we are. Because a disaster begins as a crisis. That's where we are. The disaster that is actually playing out, you and I are not feeling. The authorities are. Because they've got to start tracing people in order to isolate, test, and treat. If they don't do that, our numbers are going to blow out of proportion. And I'm expecting our numbers to blow out of proportion. I mean, we've actually gone from 0 to 116 in a week. If each one of those people has contact with 50 people, in another week, we could be sitting somewhere in the region of 5,000 plus, like Italy saw. Moving forward, guys, have a look around you. If you know people that might run into difficulties, maybe it's time to have a little chat with them. As part of the mitigation, the public awareness, communication is critical. And if you come across things, send it through to me. I'll filter it out. And if need be, look, I'm already getting information from the disaster management side. I don't expect them to activate us or deploy us. Because what are we going to do? Right now, they don't know what they're going to do because they're still in the planning phase. From your personal safety, from your personal security, take care of that. We will deal with everything else at a later stage, as and when the need arises. If you've got to do temporary installations for your radio equipment, go for it, so that at least we've got some form of comms. Because, you know, if the numbers blow out, I said this on Monday night, if the numbers blow out of the window and the unions pull their workers out, places like ESCOM, we're not going to have anything going. We might not have power. All right, I want to wrap up on this. I'll pick things up moving forward on WhatsApp. Very quickly, I'm unmuting everybody. If you ask any questions or make any statements, let's start with Pia. Pia?
Wat sy werk is die swart stoel besig om op te inlig te raak in die wit is, want die swart stoel die wit is het geld om op te stok en hulle koop die wit weer, die swart is net nie die geld om op te stok. So al wat nou gaan gebeur is, wanneer dit erg raak, gaan die swart is net begin meer rook.
Nee?
Okay, Pia, anything specific you want to throw in quickly?
Ja. Ja, nog iets specifiek wat jij wil
I'm super.
Ja, dus praat met Melissa. Bleker.
All right. I don't know if you can hear me there. Rory, that you want to throw in? Rory, you want to throw in?
No, nothing from my side. Sorry, man.
Okay, not a problem. Stefan, anything you want to throw in?
No, Chair, thanks. I'm all good.
All right, good stuff. Stephen, I want to chat to you when we close in a few minutes. I'll just open up another meeting, okay?
Okay, nothing from my side, cheers.
All right, cool. Who's next? Lawrence?
Yeah, nothing at the moment. We'll see what's going on.
All right. Andrew?
Nothing from our side, Chad.
Okay, Melissa?
Yoo-hoo!
Anything from your
Oh,
side?
no, I'm good.
You good?
No, not for now. Thanks very much, Chad. I'm just connected for now. I'll try sort something out, but great stuff. Thank you.
All right, good stuff. Guys, in that case, I'm going to close the meeting. I'm going to say thanks for joining us. You know, a little bit of round robin with everybody, it does help at the end of the day there. So I'll catch you all on WhatsApp during the course of the week. And Stephen, I'll reopen in a second for you. All right, I'm going to end the meeting now.
What? I'm still here for some reason.
Yeah, I'm going to end it now. I'm just getting through everything. I'll open the meeting up again for you. Give me.
Is it going to be? Do you need to talk to me long? Because I just want to go. I want to go eat now.
It's not going to be long. Not going to be long. I'll call you. I'll reconnect in a minute.